Construction is one of the most in-demand jobs in the world, but have you ever wondered what it actually takes to run a construction company?
Learning how to actually run the business, nobody teaches the contractors how to do it. We've done 10 Property Brothers episodes. We were doing a full main floor renovation in 20 some odd days. It was absolutely insane. Newer contractors are afraid to charge the money that they're supposed to charge. One of the biggest mistakes that people make in construction is My name's David Imbrogno. I run PEWTER Build. We are a construction company, full service design build firm based just outside of Toronto. Alex asked me to show you guys around what a day in the life of a construction company owner, manager looks like. So let's go have some fun. Seriously, we're going to Starbucks first. Need at least 4 coffees a day to run a company.
What does a typical day look like for you?
Honestly, it's different every day. We're trying to expand the company, trying to build more structure. It's really been historically more of a mom and pop shop. My dad started the business 25 years ago. My mom helped run it, and when my brother and I came out into the company in 2009, we're really just labor, right? And have been labor up until pretty much last year. Started the process of trying to move into more of a managerial role. Currently, we have 8 employees on the production side of things. So it's my 2 parents, my brother and I, and then we have 4 guys in-house, and then typically run off of sub-trades to fill in the gaps and get the majority of the work done. And then we specialize in finishing and refining the projects. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make in this business or in construction is it's like, you're really good with your hands, right? Like you're really good at the job, you're proficient on site. And then you think that it's okay, it's going to be easy for you to just open a company and do it yourself. But there's so much more that goes into it. You end up getting sucked into the on-site stuff. And so you're working in the business, working for the business rather than working on the business, you know, from the plumber to you name it, right? Like they all go out on their own. Not to say that you can't make money, but the second you want to try to grow and do larger projects or whatever, your role really changes. So my day at this point in time is really trying to figure out the game plan, the direction, and what pieces need to be implemented next, right? If you want to be successful, you have to be an implementer. You have to have goals, an end game, like what's your 5-year, you know, big, hairy, audacious goal, and then work backwards from there. What do you have to do on a yearly basis to get to that? What can you do today that's going to take you one step closer to that goal? You know, I want to see 8 figures within the next 5 years, hopefully sooner. So I think we're on the right path.
All right, Dave, so where are we now?
We are at our Stonebrook residence project. This is a full concrete build. This is our first build, and it's kind of a baptism by fire. Seems to be the way that we do things at PEWTER. Nothing about this is done standard, so you end up with a lot of extra steps that you wouldn't typically have. So it's a fun project though.
So what's the transition like when you go from, like you said, you guys started as a mom and pop shop. It was a very small team, and you're doing these, you know, smaller projects. What's that transition like when you go from those projects to a full-scale operation like this?
We have the little castle logo. My grandfather always said, like, build on stone. And so the best way to do a transition into this is like step by step. You're making sure that you have the solid footing, that solid foundation to build on, right? To just jump 0 into this, like you're gonna make some mistakes, right? And I think the amount of mistakes that we've made over the years, like you make those mistakes on the smaller projects. You can't afford to, like, you screw up on something like this, you're done. You're closing that company down, right? So it's good to have the confidence to you know, expand your horizons and grow and everything, but at the same time, you have to be sure. So we started with smaller projects and kind of always over-invested in the look, the feel, the materials and stuff. Like they pay us for X, we'd give them X plus Y all along the way to kind of build out the portfolio and make it hit harder so that you could always attract that next level up type of project, right? And so that's how we built it, and it hasn't been easy. It's astounding the amount of work that goes into organizing something like this. it took months just to price it, right? Like this isn't, it's no joke.
You want to check out the inside? I want to see what's going on in there.
Yeah, let's go see.
Yeah, warm. That's how you got to get warm in the winter in Canada.
Yeah.
Construction site. What would a project like this cost to build?
To build something like this, I mean, you're approaching like $4 or $5 million on a home like this, right? So, and it's very easy to spend more, right? Like we've spent a lot of time refining the budget and trying to get it into a place where they're comfortable moving forward, and it's hard to recoup, right? $1 million on concrete, that the next person, the next buyer, they might not care about that, right? They might not value that. So it's $1 million in sunk cost. They get it. They're not planning on moving. Like, they're building their dream house, but still, something to consider when you're planning it out. You don't want to go way overboard on what the valuation of the home is going to be in the end, right?
So how does the payment structure work when you're the general contractor and you're taking on this project? I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of overhead. You have to pay for everybody working on site. You have to pay for all the materials and everything. So how do you balance that out? Trying to figure out all the finances and make sure that you're not spending way too much that you can't recoup that money after.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of planning and tracking on our end, but what we do is we plan out kind of what the outlay is going to be ahead of time, and then it's broken up. So there's just the top dollar amount, and then it's broken up into progress payments. So when we hit, roughing is completed or framing is completed, there's milestones. And when we hit those milestones, then it triggers the next payment. But you have to give it some thought up front, otherwise you get caught with your pants down if you didn't plan it out properly, right?
Is that a really common mistake with newer contractors? Do they find themselves maybe quoting a job for too little and then they end up not profitable because there's issues that happen in the job?
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like, you have to have buffer built into it, and I find a lot of newer contractors are afraid to charge the money that they're supposed to charge, right? You're supposed to be in business to make money. You're supposed to be there. If you are profitable, then you can reinvest in the business. You can reinvest in the level of service that you're able to provide. And so if you're not taking care of the business first, you can't take care of the clients on a long term. You can't. Everybody's almost ashamed of their price. You can't be ashamed of your price. Like, you have to know your numbers. You have to be confident that this is what it's going to cost to do a good job and provide the level of service that your individual company provides. And people either see that value and they're willing to pay it, or they're not. That's fine, right? Like, but you have to hold your ground.
Do you have any advice for maybe yourself when you were first getting into this industry, or somebody who's watching this and they're thinking about getting into construction?
Yeah, educate yourself. There are so many good resources out there, and I feel like more than anything, the industry seems to be like a fallback for most people. Like, oh, I wasn't good at school, I wasn't good at that, so I'm getting into the trades, I'm getting into construction. Our team is different. We have guys who, by all rights, should have been in, sitting in an office somewhere, making big money, working for a big tech firm or something like that. That's the type of people that we have working for us. And there are so many resources out there that if you just apply yourself and you go looking for the education, you can find it. And I'm not talking about going to the local college or whatever and going through the construction program. Like, that's a good base, but learning how to actually run the business, nobody teaches the contractors or the guys who actually are crazy enough to open the business how to do it. And so I would say to myself, get guys that you can trust, that they learn the construction, they learn how to get to that finish line of that perfect photo at the end, and you go learn the business. All right, second home sweet home. So we are at our office. This has been such a key component or addition to the business. Number one, having the business get to a point where you are out of your parents' garage or out of your own garage, and having actual tool storage and a workshop and all of that stuff available is a game changer mentally. Your home is your home. Your work now has a physical place. The other thing that really changed with having particularly the showroom is when you're going into people's homes and presenting a price, you know, you're on their turf. It's just a completely different dynamic than when the clients are coming into your space. You know, it's more professional. It's just a better place to present. We have this amazing kitchen display. You know, we sell a lot of Rapina kitchens, and we have a full display available with tons of samples and everything in the back. We have tile samples, hardwood samples, countertops, all kinds of stuff. So it's just an amazing place to work out of, and getting to the point where you have a space like this to operate out of is a really big milestone, and really helps change not only client's perception of you, but your perception of you. So definitely a big step.
What's the story with that picture behind you?
So we've done, I think, 9 or 10 Property Brothers episodes. So we started doing buying and selling episodes, which was crazy. It was like baptism by fire. We started 2 episodes. They were like 2 days apart. You had 23 to 27 days to do these projects, and they were right on top of each other. So I think they started 2 days apart and they finished back to back from one another. And it's just like you were doing a full main floor renovation in 20 some odd days. It was absolutely insane. So it was really cool, and it was a learning experience because we got to see what we could actually do. You know, you didn't think it was possible, but just knowing that somebody else can do it, it's like, well, if somebody else can do it, we can do it. So let's just figure it out. So you don't sleep, you don't have any weekends or anything, but it's a whirlwind, and then you get to be on TV. So we're about to go film a walkthrough video, a final walkthrough video. It's one of the formats that we like to shoot. So we do like a mid-phase shoot of our projects, give everybody kind of a rough rundown of what's going on, and then we'll do a final walkthrough. So that's what we're about to go show off, is the final product. This was more of a basic project for us, still high value for them, but realistically it was a pretty easy one for us. Just a main floor refresh essentially, with some really nice appliances and high-end cabinetry. So let's go check it out. Appliances, you're buying more than just the appliance itself. You're buying better service, and